made the law work for me.
Meet Greg Mathis, the young man who got a second chance and was elected judge. And now, the show that brings real life to the courtroom.
Yo, fam, it's Jazzy Jazz with Lee Bailey's EURweb.com Spotlight. I got the longest running judge on TV in the house, Judge Mathis. This man got some serious opinions. You're not going to want to miss it. Kick it with us. It's Jazzy Jazz with Lee Bailey's EURweb.com Spotlight, and I got the judge in the building. I'm talking about the one and only Emmy Award-winning Judge Greg Mathis with the second longest running courtroom show in the history of television. Welcome, Judge.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure to be with Jasmine Summers.
Well, it's great to have you. Okay, you had a birthday about a month ago, so happy belated. What was your favorite birthday gift?
I don't know. We tough guys from Detroit. We don't celebrate birthdays, but I will be kind to my family who got me a great party. They gave me a little surprise party, and they gave me some nice clothes. They gave me some Versace. They know I'm Detroit all the way.
Ooh, now you stunting, huh? I already
right.
know. And you repping the D. I already know, throwing it up for the D. That's what's up. Well, I want you to tell us your story. And I know you've told it a lot, but it is such an inspiration. I mean, back in the day when you were in high school, people would have called you a thug. I don't call my brothers thugs, but they would have called you a thug. You got arrested. You were sentenced as an adult. You were estranged from your father. You get out, you go to law school, and then they deny you the license to practice because of your criminal record, which happens to so many of our brothers, right? How did you overcome all of those challenges to be where you are today?
Yeah, first let me say, I've told this story for some 22 years now, and I got to keep telling it, because so many brothers and mothers of single mothers who need that same inspiration that I give in terms of raising their boys by themselves. I got to keep saying it because the circumstances still exist, and so I'm able to inspire.
Come on.
So if my story inspires, I'm going to continue to say it. And I was able to, first of all, overcome because I have been prepared as a child. And this is for the single mothers. My mother's singular focus for her and her 4 boys in the toughest housing projects in Detroit was church and school. She worked midnights as a nurse's aide, and she worked days for a couple of hours cleaning the homes. But she was always there when we got out of school at 3. Make sure we did our homework. Then she took her nap at 6 p.m. to get ready for the 10 o'clock work shift, the overnight. Then when she came back in the morning, she made sure that we were prepared for school. She got off at 6, was there at 7, making sure we were to send us off to school. Everything was surrounded by the church twice a week. And if she was unable, she'd had a deacons come and get us. So that was our life. However,
so we have to wait. We just have to say a big shout out to your mama. That was not an easy life, and she put you all top of her priority list. And, so big shout out to her, mad love to her. Now, how did you then get into the gang? Like, what happened?
Well, if you look at the 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock free time when your mother's asleep, and then after 11 she's at work, and you're living in the tough housing projects, I don't have to say anymore. That's a lot of free time, and the peer pressure was such that either you were a predator or you were preyed on. So that's very simple.
And I can tell you're an alpha male. You were not going to be preyed on.
So I became a predator, unfortunately. And in and out of juvenile, and then jailed as an adult at age 17 for carrying a gun, and then ordered by the judge to get a GED. I'd only gone to the 11th grade, still only having 11th grade education for high school. And then took the GED and got into college on an affirmative action program. That's why that's so important. What street youth could come out of jail and be in college 9 months later. That was because of the political fight that we had for affirmative action.
Yes.
Yeah, so when I graduated from college or in college, I began working in politics. We were working against divestiture against South Africa. And so I held marches. I was president of the NAACP. Everything was focused toward social justice and political and public policy. And so I worked for the city council, worked for Jesse Jackson, worked for the mayor of Detroit, and then I ran for judge. And as you say, they held my license up for 3 years after I passed the bar. I was working for the mayor of Detroit at that time, thank goodness, that I was able to keep a job and provide. And then I had to go to the Supreme Court to get my license, the Supreme Court of Michigan.
So you were just like, no, I am not accepting no for an answer. And look at you now. Now, you are doing a lot of work with our Black Kings, right? Talk to me about the work you're doing with Brothers now.
Yeah, that's been my passion since I came out of college. I started a youth agency right out of college and purchased and opened a community center, the Mathis Community Center in Detroit, time I got to television. And my primary focus has been transforming the lives of Black men, because if we strengthen them, we can strengthen our community. And we're so targeted. We're such a target by corporate and mainstream America in general for economic deprivation, for the mass incarceration, for economic injustice, and failed education systems.
Yeah, and that's right. And just for random killing. Like, I mean, I can't believe since the Chauvin trial, we've had 3 teenagers killed and then an unarmed Black man who's a father in North Carolina shot down by police.
Yeah, you know, it's my belief that our lives are devalued as African Americans in general, and Black men in particular are demonized by society. Indeed, when Michael Brown was killed, and they asked in Ferguson, and they asked why or what the circumstances were when they asked the officer, he said, when he came at me, he looked like a demon. His eyes turned red. And the Bible itself tells us to cast out demons, kill a demon. So it's all right when you're killing a demon. If the news every night stereotypes Black men and say that they're criminals, they're angry and violent and sexual predators, looking at their women, then yeah, they don't want to hire us, and they demonize us, and demons you kill.
Right.
So
well, I think the other thing, and Judge, I think the other thing though is that they have found a lot of, they call it Ku Klux Klan. There are, white men who belong to racist organizations that join the police department. And because there's no accountability, they're able to get away with most times, a public lynching, killing a brother. And the most they get is administrative leave, which is like a paid vacation, right? Yeah. So we need that accountability, don't you think?
Yeah, and well, you talk about the officers, and now we know the military, retired military, are involved in the oppression of Black men. Well, and that's been the case since the beginning of our sojourn here. The sheriffs had a dual role, quite frankly, in the subsequent to slavery. to serve as the sheriff during the day, and they were Klansmen at night, all the way
No
through
doubt.
the 1970s. Same thing in the 60s. Klan during the night and sheriff during the day. So we've seen that movie before, and unfortunately, we have to keep fighting it.
Speak on it, Judge. Okay, so the other thing that I know is that you're very passionate about is reparations. I mean, us being able to participate in the wealth we created for everybody else, right?
That's right.
Talk to me about that.
Well, let's start with the fact that the transatlantic slave trade is the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. You captured and shipped millions of Africans and worked them for some 300 years for free to build the richest country in the world. And if you had a business and you didn't have to pay anybody, you'd be the richest businessman in the world.
No doubt.
So therefore, that transfer of wealth made America the richest, and their descendants of slave labor maintain that wealth. And so we need some of that wealth transferred back. And reparations is the way. I've worked on this for nearly 40 years. I worked for Congressman Conyers years ago in the 80s, and he proposed H.R. 40, House Resolution H.R. 40, the legislation to study reparations, a federal commission. He proposed it 25 times in the Congress. Well, the good news is it was just passed. In Congress, just passed. And now we're waiting on the US Senate and then the president to form the commission to study. And that will determine whether the high-minded intellectuals and leaders of society are fair enough to understand that we deserve something, because the vestiges of what happened to us continue.
Oh, yeah.
It was illegal for us to get an education. Well, there's still a major education gap.
Right.
White wealth 10 times that of black wealth.
Well, we couldn't get loans.
The largest transfer of wealth. And so those things still linger, even though the descendants of slave masters say, I don't have nothing to do with it. Well, give us the money back.
Right. I want my check.
That's right, since you had nothing to do with it.
I want my check.
And we've come up with a $13 trillion cost. And that's economists from Harvard. They've come up with a calculated amount of 13 trillion. So, and I believe there are ways that comes to 300 or so thousand for each African-American who identifies themselves on the census as African-American.
Right.
You know, a lot of this multiracial, or I'm biracial, and I'm not, okay, fine.
Cablinasian. They come up with the strangest words. I'm like, yo, you're black. When the policeman sees you, you're black. Okay, he's not looking at your DNA, right?
That's right.
So I gotta ask you, just going back to the show, and thank you so much for sharing that wisdom with us and that knowledge, which you do every day on the show, and plus you make us laugh. But in those 23 years, and congratulations on that,
thank you.
What is the funniest or most shocking case that comes to mind?
Well, I'll say shocking. You know, every case is funny. At least I
try
to make
it funny.
But the most compelling was a young man. This was years ago, but it sticks with me so much because it is the only case in 23 years that got a little drip down my cheek. Because here's a young man, he had overcome the street gangs in Los Angeles. Both parents died of HIV/AIDS. He then moved to his aunt's house in Oakland, who was a middle-class woman, a strong family. She moved him in. He was 18 years old, and he started community college. Unfortunately, he had a Army veteran as an uncle who was very strict, thrown all his clothes out because he came in at midnight. And then I said, this young man is trying to get himself. You should be mentoring him. He's your nephew. He says, he ain't nothing to me. Ooh. I don't care. And if he come in after 12, I said, this young man is 19 years old. I said, and I told him the young man reminded me of him, of myself rather. And that shed a tear because it reminded me so much. And I had a cousin who did mentor me and get me in college. The good news is that young man came back 2 years later. He was had his community college degree.
Wow.
And he was the youth minister at his church. And he came by to thank me. So that's
a beautiful story, Judge. I can see why that stays in your mind for real.
Yep.
Now, the last time I saw you was maybe about 6 years ago with President Obama. Don't we miss him? And then we had, this was at the White House. And then of course we had 4 years of the orange Cheeto in the White House, you know.
Orange man.
The orange man, right? So what kind of grade are you giving Biden? What kind of grade are you giving Biden so far?
Yeah, so far I'll give him a B. You know, you have to deliver on what you say. You know, I know game when I see it. And so
game knows game.
Yeah, you know, I got to see what's behind the curtain. For example, he said he would support. There's an easy way here. He said he would support the legislation for the study of reparations by a federal commission. Well, he's going to have that turn very soon. And that's going to be very controversial among white America. And we're going to see how that works. And then there's police reform. I think he can encourage that a little more, or do or sign some executive orders like they have for the migrants in Texas who are crossing over illegally, yet they're being given the best that we can provide, and that's a good thing. We should. But the fact is, they're coming over, and the only thing I've ever heard, I'm listening, whether it's a political war in Guatemala or Central America, and the only thing they're saying is that they are coming and they feel sorry because they're escaping poverty and violence.
Sounds like home.
There you go. There you go. And we try to escape, we go to jail.
Right, exactly. That part.
So we want some of those resources. Show us a sign that you love us. You say you love us, show us a sign.
Right.
We signed an executive order for them, signing some executive orders for us.
Yep. What you're telling Biden is don't just speak about it, be about it, right?
There you go.
So before we go, do you have any hidden talents? Like, can you sing?
Absolutely, I can sing.
Huh?
I've been feeling tired, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. How about that?
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm from Detroit, Motown. You know that.
Get it, Judge. Get it. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us and hanging out. This has been, as always, informative, inspirational, and of course, catch his show every day, Monday through Friday.
That's right. All right.
And you will not stop laughing.
Call on me whenever you want.
All right. Thank you so much, Judge. It was an honor to be with you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right.
Have a blessed day. Bye. Now, fam, don't forget to subscribe so I can keep bringing you these conversations. Let's go. Let's go.